This is the story of how a man challenged the impossible, breaking free from the iron grip of a corrupt prison system that was designed to crush the human spirit. In the shadowed valleys of rural Kentucky, where the mist clung to the hills like a shroud, lived Elias Thorne, a quiet accountant with a life as orderly as his ledgers. Born in 1942 to a family of coal miners, Elias had clawed his way out of poverty through sheer intellect, earning a scholarship to a small college and building a modest career balancing books for local businesses. He married his high school sweetheart, Clara, and they settled into a cozy home with dreams of starting a family. But fate, that cruel jester, had other plans. One fateful night in 1965, Elias returned home to find Clara lifeless on the kitchen floor, a victim of a brutal robbery gone wrong. The police, eager for a quick close, pinned the crime on him. Evidence tampered, witnesses coerced. Despite his protests of innocence, a jury, swayed by sensational headlines, sentenced him to life without parole in Blackridge Penitentiary, a fortress of despair nestled in the Appalachian Mountains. Blackridge was no ordinary prison. It was a beast forged from stone and steel, where the warden, Harlan Crow, ruled with an iron fist wrapped in velvet hypocrisy. Crow preached rehabilitation to the outside world, but inside, he orchestrated a web of corruption, extorting inmates, smuggling contraband, and turning a blind eye to the guards' sadistic games. Elias arrived in chains, his once neat suit replaced by a faded orange jumpsuit, his world reduced to the clang of cell doors and the stench of despair. The intake process was a ritual of humiliation, stripped, searched, and assigned to cell block D, where the air hung heavy with the echoes of broken men. His cellmate, an old-timer named Red Callahan, eyed him warily. Red, a lifer for a botched heist in his youth, had seen countless newcomers shatter. "Kid," he grumbled, "survive the first year and maybe you'll last. But hope, that's the real killer here." Elias's early days were a blur of torment. The guards, led by the brutish Sergeant Vickers, delighted in breaking the new fish. Yet amid the chaos, Elias's mind remained his sanctuary. He volunteered for the prison library, a dusty corner forgotten by time, and began organizing the books, first alphabetically, then by theme. It was there he met Amos, a scholarly inmate convicted of forgery, who taught him the art of subtle rebellion. "Knowledge is the key," Amos whispered one evening as they shelved tattered volumes. Not just to doors, but to minds. Elias devoured everything. Philosophy from Plato, engineering manuals, even geology texts that detailed the porous limestone beneath Blackridge's foundations. As months turned to years, Elias forged unlikely alliances. Red became his confidant, a gruff mentor who smuggled small luxuries, a bar of soap, a hidden radio, for favors in return. Together, they navigated the prison's underbelly, the black market run by inmate gangs, the whispered deals in the yard. Elias's accounting skills proved invaluable. He balanced the books for the warden's illicit operations, earning a modicum of protection but fueling his growing resolve. He witnessed horrors that scarred his soul. The suicide of a young inmate driven mad by isolation, the gang wars that left bloodstains on the concrete floors. But Elias clung to a flicker of hope, kindled by letters from his sister, who believed in his innocence and fought tirelessly for appeals. One day, he vowed silently, staring at the stars through his barred window, "I'll walk free. Diti." The turning point came in 1970, during a brutal winter storm that rattled Blackridge's ancient walls. A riot erupted in the mess hall, sparked by spoiled food and pent-up rage. Guards fired tear gas, clubs swung, and in the melee, Elias saved Red's life by pulling him from under a collapsing table. In gratitude, Red revealed his secret, a network of tunnels dug by inmates long ago, abandoned after a cave-in. "Most think they're myths," Red said, "but I know the entrance, behind the old boiler in the basement." Elias's eyes lit with possibility. That night, under cover of darkness, he sketched his plan on scraps of paper hidden in his mattress. He would expand the tunnels, using tools smuggled from the workshop, a rock hammer disguised as a chess piece, acids from the chemistry lab for dissolving barriers, and maps pieced together from library books. The escape blueprint was meticulous, a testament to Elias's analytical mind. He calculated the prison's routines, the guard shifts at 2 a.m., the sewage lines that emptied into a nearby river. But he needed cover, so he orchestrated a facade of normalcy. By day, he became the model prisoner, teaching literacy classes to fellow inmates, earning the warden's trust by exposing a minor embezzlement scheme among the guards. This bought him privileges, access to restricted areas, extra time in the yard. At night, he chipped away at the wall behind a poster of Rita Hayworth, a gift from Red, concealing the growing hole. The work was agonizing. Dust choked his lungs, the hammer's echo risked detection, and rats scurried in the darkness. Months stretched into years. By 1975, the tunnel extended 50 feet, branching toward the outer wall. Challenges mounted like storm clouds. Vickers, suspicious of Elias's composure, ramped up harassment. Random cell searches, extended lockdowns. Once a guard discovered a loose stone, but Elias deflected blame onto a rival inmate, sparking a diversionary fight. Personal demons haunted him too. Nightmares of Clara's face, doubts that freedom awaited outside. Red, ever the skeptic, questioned the plan. What if the river's too high? What if they catch you? But Elias's determination burned brighter. He confided in a select few, Amos for intellectual support, a burly inmate named Jax for muscle during risky digs. Together, they formed a brotherhood, bound by shared secrets and the dream of liberty. As the tunnel neared completion in 1980, external forces converged. Elias's sister uncovered new evidence, a witness recanting testimony under duress, and petitioned for a retrial. The warden, fearing exposure, tightened security, installing floodlights and dogs. Elias accelerated, working feverishly. He rigged a dummy in his bed for nightly checks, using hair clippings and stuffed clothes. The final breakthrough came on a moonless night. The hammer pierced the outer soil, and cool air rushed in. But disaster struck. A guard patrol shifted unexpectedly, forcing Elias to seal the exit prematurely. Heart-pounding, he waited, recalculating. Red's role evolved from supplier to co-conspirator. He procured rope from the laundry, waterproof bags for documents. Their conversations deepened, touching on life beyond bars. "I've got a place in mind," Red shared. "A little cabin by the sea in Maine. Fresh start." Elias nodded, envisioning his own redemption, reuniting with family, clearing his name. Yet betrayal loomed. Jax, tempted by a reduced sentence, nearly sold them out. But Elias confronted him in the shadows, appealing to his honor. "We're all chained here," Elias said. "Break yours with us," Jax relented, strengthening their pact. By 1985, the plan crystallized. Elias would crawl through the tunnel during a staged infirmary visit, emerging in the woods beyond the perimeter. Red would create a distraction, a fire in the workshop. Amos would forge release papers as backup. The night arrived with a thunderstorm, nature conspiring in their favor. Rain masked the sounds as Elias slipped behind the poster, hammer in hand. The crawl was hellish. Narrow confines, sewage sludge up to his neck, the weight of earth pressing down. Panic clawed at him, claustrophobia, exhaustion, but Clara's memory propelled him forward. "For you," he whispered, inching mile by tortuous mile. Emerging into the downpour, Elias gasped fresh air for the first time in 2 decades. He shed his prison garb, donning civilian clothes hidden in a bag. As alarms wailed in the distance, he vanished into the forest, following a compass toward a waiting truck arranged by his sister. The manhunt was massive, helicopters, hounds, roadblocks. But Elias evaded, hitchhiking north under aliases, his face altered by a makeshift beard. Weeks later, he surfaced in Chicago, where lawyers awaited with exonerating evidence, a DNA match to the real killer, long deceased. Freedom tasted bittersweet. Elias reunited with his aging sister, but Clara's absence lingered like a ghost. He testified against Warden Crow, exposing the corruption that had festered for years. Blackridge reformed, guards prosecuted, inmates granted reviews. Red, paroled soon after, joined Elias in Maine, where they opened a small bookstore, symbols of knowledge's liberating power. Elias wrote his memoir, Shadows Unchained, inspiring countless others. He traveled, speaking on injustice, his voice a beacon for the wrongfully convicted. Yet scars remained. Nights brought flashbacks, the clang of bars, the tunnel's suffocating dark. Elias found solace in simple joys, sunrise walks, laughter with friends. He married again, a kind librarian named Grace, and they adopted a child, naming her Hope. In quiet moments, he reflected on his odyssey, from accused murderer to free man, defying a system built to bury dreams.